Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Where are we here? I'm just going to wait for YouTube to kick in here. We didn't know whether it was going to kick. Are you going to kick YouTube? I don't see it kicking. Oh, I think I see a kick. Kick. Yay. All right, good. It's going. Yep. So Kevin's in the background here, just letting me know that he's got control of the situation. Thank you, sir. So as you can see from our dashboard, looks like we're actually starting to get some data here. Actually spent some time in the daily brief going through some of the winners and losers in the market. What a surprise. Drug stocks seem to be pretty happy, and airline transportation related seem to be in the pooper. Hopefully, over the coming weeks and months, we can actually start using this to help us sort of see the market a little clearer. And of course, what do you think? Would it have been a good idea had we heeded that breadth warning sell signal there back in middle of February? We'll watch how this develops. I think that the database is still sort of cleaning itself out, but great to see that we are getting data back here. For the purposes of your video for YouTube, of course, I like to just show you this quick little chart deck. Actually, I'll put that over there. And we'll just speak a little bit to what we have on here. And of course, like I said, we had a long, actually about an hour and a half long daily brief today. Just going through everything under the sun, trying to figure out what we should be thinking going forward here. So first and foremost, US dollar index, always a good idea to check in with the world's hegemony proxy. Might be painting a little bit of a fractal top here today. You can see if we lose that big dump day, yesterday's lows, then US dollar is probably going to be heading down back to the downside. Never did fill that gap into the upside. So what I'm basically suggesting right now is we are in a massive megaphone, and really the conversation here now isn't about which central bank is going to be raising their interest rates and paying the highest money. The question right now is which country is going to need the biggest bailout. I wonder whether euro is going to come under some massive strain here over the next coming weeks and months, especially Italy. I was showing the site members today. They had government bond auctions, and the prices that they are getting for these Italian one-year government bonds, they're having to pay up quite a bit of interest, way above 0%, that's for sure. And if liquidity just simply dries up and they can't get financing, we could see another leg lower on the euro as they dilute the euro to try and support the Italian market. And we're probably going to hear that out of all those pigs nations: Spain, Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece. So with that said, as we've sort of talked about recently, if we actually see the US dollar rallying in earnest, that's a bad sign. That's sort of like, oh my God, the end of the world sort of coming and everybody's flying out of everything. If anything, you'd like to actually see this fractal happen. And then that way, risk is still on. People are feeling optimistic. They're going and buying the euros, that kind of stuff. World growth is back on. So, if anything, if you're a bull, you kind of want to see this thing fail out here and maybe even A, B, C, D our way back down to the bottom here. If we look at risk on, risk off, we've been sort of walking you through this. What does a bottom look like in the U.S. stock market? We talked a while now about these head and shoulders patterns. Interesting, you can see this is playing out, ironically enough, very close to expectations. Maybe a little bit too fast. I would have thought this rally would go on into... This rally window is supposed to go on into the end of June. That's the next big celestial event window. And I wouldn't be surprised if into sort of July 4th, big sort of, hug across America. The weather's a little bit better. We talked about Mr. Bernanke came out and sort of gave his comments. I think he actually in a weird sort of way, gave us a little tell as to what to expect. But in essence, things should get a little bit better into the summer. And then once we head back into the fall, and that's the main event that I'm really worried about celestially, all hell's going to break loose. And he's even told us, yeah, we're going to close back down again into the autumn. So risk on. They're coming back into the market. I got to tell you, though, I'm not overly excited about joining this big bull. If you happen to have ideas, trades, and stuff that are firing, great, awesome. You know, like we've been doing this little day trading model on the Dutch index. We actually had a really cool little setup come in here. Move stop to scratch levels hits. Then on the New York Open, they bring it back down. So we had to hop at scratch. And then it turns out they ran up to the target. And mountain man levels and chaos levels like originally planned. Jerks. Could I have hunted another long here, I suppose, off of this double bottom? Maybe, but I was up through the evening watching this really closely, and, you know, basically the day trader's day. What the hell? We'll finally book a scratch trade here. I can live with that. Having said that, mountain man, chaos levels, what a surprise to actually see the market stalling out here. And you might even argue even signs of momentum failure. So I don't know whether I'm going to get too wrapped up in the further bull move higher here, but I do like the idea of trying to hunt longs through this move up here. And if we look at our little risk on, risk off, just off of the S&Ps, we talked recently about a head and shoulders pattern here off of this 38.2. That would take us up top here. I think initial objectives, this AB equals CD. Notice there's a big old gap on this big S&P contract. I think that's a pretty good target here in the short term. Also, too, and it's interesting how it's sort of crypto related, I am expecting a fairly sizable melt up in things like Bitcoin into its halving event, and usually it's sort of like a month ahead of the halving event. So that sort of paints a rally window, middle to the end of April. And also, too, we looked at the options open interest data. I did notice recently, though, the CBOEs become very suspect in their reporting, so I have a feeling that the 1% don't really want the public to know what's really going on. But lots of incentive for the options boys to take the market up here as well. So what a shock. Basically, we're heading higher here. The interesting thing about the oil, and I've sort of talked about this recently, I'm not an oil bull. I don't want to invest in oil anymore. I would be interesting if energy itself puts in bottoms, and I might take a look at things like natural gas. I might take a look at solar, biotech fuels, that kind of stuff, fuel cell, but I don't really want to invest in oil. But what I am most concerned about here with the oil market is that, of course, this 2-day rally was really fluffy. It wasn't like there was fundamental news that actually drove this rally. This, to me, seemed like very much nothing more than just the market was ridiculously oversold, politicians running around, rhetoric, nothing really solid. And then notice 2 days ago we painted an inside bar fail. And the inventory numbers coming out of Cushing, Oklahoma right now are just staggering. So it's not really a question of supply. There is enough supply out there, and cutting supply is not going to make that big of a difference because these warehouses in like places like Cushing are just overflowing with oil. It's really a question about demand. And also, too, remember that I'm not a commodities bull anymore, so I don't even really like oil. I do think it will play a sort of risk-on, risk-off play. And, of course, if we see heads and shoulders as in stock markets, my hunch is this head and shoulders in oil will work. But interestingly enough, even if the head and shoulders does work, it's just going to do nothing more than take us back to 38.2s. Which you remember, we always say that really we can't even decide whether this is a bull or a bear until 38.2 has been resolved. So the jury's still out hugely for me on oil. On the other side of the equation, bonds now looking very heavy. It's interesting how that long setup still has not been broken, though. I find that fascinating. So that lower time frame bot setup is still working. And our buddy the gold just hanging out right here at this neckline of this massive inverted head and shoulders. This is sort of set a scenario here, bull-bear battle lines. If we fractal out here, then don't be surprised if we have to dump back down. If we can somehow hold on to this level and start Wing out, then I think we can start rocking and rolling higher. And so, site members, trying to hunt what does that rocking and rolling trade higher look like. I'm right now just watching these bot levels where a nice resolution, give me a nice like 3 triple W off of this 1711 level, and I can start hunting longs. For now, just cooling my jets. And I'm not a fan of investing in gold. I do like the idea of trading it. This could be an absolutely insane bullish year for gold, but I don't like the idea of quote-unquote investing it. This reminds me a lot of Bitcoin. 2017 had people come in. Should I invest in Bitcoin at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, $13,000? Well, it went up to 20. A lot of those people were very angry at me for saying maybe just cool your jets. And then, of course, it comes screaming back down the other side. That's pretty much the scenario that I think is going to happen here with gold. I don't know how high the high is. It does look to me that if we do resolve higher here, the market does want to go up and test those old highs from years ago. I think that's completely natural given the insanity of the world right now and all the money printing. Some key levels you can see up here that I'm watching. And those old highs, there's some gaps up there. And, that little bot, you can see if that hourly setup does come in, that's going to do nothing more than just take us back up into these higher time frame levels. Interesting, too, how we've almost hit this 1750 objective that we've had there for quite a while. So maybe we have some sort of nutso insano blast off through here, which validates that bot objective, hits all these chaos levels, hits this bot objective, and hits these higher time frame levels that I've been watching for a few years now. So that's sort of your gold scenario. And as I sort of said, risk on, risk off. I get the impression right now that we're just sort of asking, okay, do we want to continue working our way higher here? And 1711 is the magic number for me there. Heading on over to the stock market. Remember we had said yesterday, let's watch how this relationship of the Russell 2000 versus the Dow Jones Industrials acts. You can see the Russell 2000 is trying to catch a nice little bid. We did put in a new V bottom though. I would really like to see a W here, but this is more just a overall proxy. How's the market feeling? We had a TRI SOF club meeting yesterday, and W's are W's are W's. It doesn't surprise me to see this happening. Caveat emptor, do your own research, do your own due diligence. I'm not recommending anything to anybody here. But, if you see W's on stuff, odds are probably Brian's, if not buying, very interested in buying. And this is right across the board. Some really interesting different sectors. TEUM, I think they're, Kevin, are they in the software business? Wasn't this the authentication software guys? Leaf, I think they're in the retail business online. Transcentrix, this is an interesting one. Total train wreck of a trade. But if they put in a W, gee whiz, you can see that gap. It's got a world of room to move up. Good old crypto stocks. Hut Mining went and actually W'd out off of the 90 level that I was super interested in before. And full disclosure, actually, TRI, we have a corporate account set up for the company. TRI is now going to try and be a shareholder, and we've got bids working all the way down against all these lows. A couple pot stocks. I'm noticing the pot sector is firming up. So a couple pot stocks that we mentioned in our TRI SOF club meeting yesterday. And a darling of years gone by, but a stock that, and you tell me, does this thing have any room to run up, any kind of reorganization, any kind of good news? Even if you played like this W, you got that kind of rally over the, what is that? That's like a 2-month window. I don't know. It just seems to me that if this silly little thing W's here, there's a lot of room to run up. So, and it really shouldn't surprise, right? Stock market got destroyed there. A lot of our old ideas got stopped out. So here we are. The market's basing again. And are we ready, willing, and able to follow our plan and trade our plan? The ideas are definitely out there. Heading on over specifically to the corn, as I had sort of alluded to earlier, I still think we're on sort of this pre-halvening event rally window. Here are some fun little studies that I've been doing with you guys. Spirals, how does a triangle resolve? Bot levels, technically you're long. Did we have the move stop to trailing level hit here? 74.54. We had a high here, 74.69. All right. So, according to this, if we start showing some, let's see if I can say that, showing some signs of failure, I could understand people that took a long off of this level are kind of like getting a little antsy. I think also, too, we could probably draw a trend line off of those lows. So probably if we fail through this trend line, which is probably going to align nicely with 30 SMAs, those kind of things, and that's probably serious failure. I can see a pretty little M coming in up here. So, I wouldn't fault you if you were like, well, Brian, I took this long, but if we M out here, I'm going to just walk away. It wouldn't be a terrible idea. Still think we're working our way higher here, but that's just my opinion, so what? And off lower time frames, we had sort of, and interesting enough, this is almost exactly like the gold. If we see that gold ticking up through its bot levels, this is an hourly chart of MEX. If you wanted to try and trade that bot long, but you missed that original entry, like we said, if we M out here through this line, then that bull's in trouble, right? And you can see the M's, right? If you ever, and actually, let's see if anybody, nice little way for YouTubers to interact. If you ever see the market doing what? Everybody write in your answer. You better get ready. So, you can see it. It will confirm if we fail through this level here. It hasn't yet. Just be prepared. If, however, we can 1 low, 2 lows, if we can make a nice 3rd low here and then start turning back up through 25, maybe even break this downtrend line, then we can start rocking and rolling. So right now, just exactly like the gold, we're just sort of sitting here going, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I think probably the only other thing I wanted to mention here today, and it's not really anything earth-shattering, like the crypto story hasn't changed, and it's basically the same story as I said yesterday. One thing I just mentioned here in closing, you can see these little coins are still slowly climbing the wall of worry. So the syndicator, and actually this has a really good looking chart versus Bitcoin too, it's moving higher. And then we pointed this out, this link, interestingly enough, you can see we're getting a good chunk of the way up to top green boxes. Now, I haven't even done it. This is a clothesline. We might have already hit the 50% level here. But it was interesting. I was super pleased to see somebody had actually in the comments yesterday said, yes, try and make sure green boxes are bigger than red boxes, rinse and repeat, just keep doing this over and over and over again. If I do this, I manage my trades, my risk management correctly. Every trade's exactly the same size, and I follow these rules, I will make money. Ironically enough, you only have to be right 50% of the time, and you'll still make money. What happens if you're right 60, 70% of the time, which I think is completely realistic? You make a lot of money. So I was super pleased to see that somebody had sort of picked up on this free YouTube video message. Try and make sure that your average winners are bigger than your average losers, and then just rinse and repeat over and over and over and over. That, my friends, is a trader's life. Okay, I think I'll leave the free video at that for today. Hope you got some value out of it. FYI, new school term starts middle of May for the level 1 intake. And actually, I'm pretty surprised. Seats are filling up pretty quickly. We are planning on doing a webinar here this spring, but frankly speaking, I don't know whether we even really need it. But if you are interested in the school program, I'd get you off your butt and get registered ASAP because these seats are filling up quick. All right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. Tomorrow's baby powder report, so great to check in with Julian, see what kind of trouble he's getting into tomorrow. All the best, and bye for now.